Welcome to Sustainability Now, an exploration of technologies and paradigms to shape a world that works. Designed for socially conscious entrepreneurs and individuals interested in responsible stewardship of the planet. Sustainability Now covers food, energy, housing, water, waste, health, economics, and consciousness. Welcome to your community, Sustainability Now, with your host, Mira Rubin.
Welcome, everybody, to Sustainability Now, technologies and paradigms to shape a world that works. I'm your host, Mira Rubin, and I'm really excited to introduce you to Ali DySard. Ali is the Environmental and Partnership Manager for Mom's Organic Market, and Mom's is a premier chain of family-owned and operated organic grocery stores. So Ali serves on the Maryland Pesticide Education Network Board and the board of Trash Free Maryland. And before working at Mom's, she was the environmental programs coordinator for the city of Bellevue, Washington, and she was also a park ranger. So I came across Mom's because I saw a challenge, the Plastic Free July Challenge, and I saw it through an organization called Story of Stuff, which is a phenomenal organization. You should definitely check it out. And they gave recommendations for places to be able to shop and get products that are not wrapped in plastic or packaged in plastic, and Mom's was one of those places. So I went into Mom's and I spoke with someone who worked there, and she informed me that Mom's had taken the Plastic Free July Challenge. And I thought, this is amazing, because Mom's has so many wonderful bulk products that you can bring your own containers and purchase, which is awesome. In fact, I don't know of another place at the moment where you can do that. Yet, so many of the aisles are filled with plastic packaged items. I mean, and so it's got to be an incredible challenge as a retailer on the front lines, trying to go waste-free, zero waste, and trying to go zero plastic. How do you do that when all these suppliers package everything in plastic? And you guys have made such a noble effort and have made incredible inroads. And I wanted to talk about that and all the challenges and what you are doing and what people can get from Mom's. And so, Ali, I'm just delighted to have you here with us.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a really fun challenge for us. You know, right now it's internal for our staff. We're really promoting that, trying to go zero waste, trying to go plastic free within your everyday life, when you come to work, when you go shopping, when you go to a restaurant, something like that. And then through social media, we're highlighting ways that you can go zero waste and plastic free for the month. So, we've been highlighting, we have a DIY body care section. So you can bring in glass jars, you can get the sea salt, you can get the essential oil, you can get the, whatever kind of bases you're looking for to make a body scrub or a wellness product or something like that. We have a DIY cleaning section as well, where you can come in and make your own glass cleaner and tabletop cleaner. And things like that.
Yeah. I'm going to come back around to that. But tell us more about what's available at Mom's. This is amazing.
Yeah. So we have, so we'll be promoting those kinds of things, just like different things that you can do all month on our social media accounts for the Plastic Free July Challenge.
Okay. So while you're, I just want to say that links are going to be on the Sustainability Now podcast page, on the notes page. But why not just tell us the link now too?
To momsorganicmarket.com is our website. Yep. And then there's a bug. On momsorganicmarket.com, we have, our ingredient standards. We have stories about our coffee and some of the different products we carry. We have only sustainable seafood. Our produce department is 100% organic. You don't have to pick a label and try and figure out, is this organic? Is this not organic? Everything in the produce department is. And then you'll see all of the different things that we recycle that customers can bring in. We allow compost from customers to bring in, different kinds of odds and ends, corks, shoes, batteries, eyeglasses, chip bags. I mean, it's a really healthy list. And you can find that on our website. That would be under our Recycle Center page. But yeah, the website has a lot of really great information.
Wow, that's you've got all the bases covered.
Yeah, trying.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, it's hard to narrow it down, because as different materials pop up, you want to add them, but collection and managing all the waste streams and stuff can sometimes be difficult task. So we add as we can and what fits and that kind of thing. But they've been really well received. You were talking about the story of stuff earlier. We ran a program in 2005 called Stop the Stuff, which was inspired by the story of stuff, which is where we brought in all those recycling centers so that you could start. That was the initiative, or the campaign was Stop the Stuff. And that's when we really started looking at the waste that we're putting out there when our customers come to buy something, and how can we take it back from them and be a responsible company, that we're putting this out, we're taking it back. So that was part of the idea around that. And then that's also when we switched a lot of our waste to compostable. So if you come in and you go to our produce department, for example, and you get a head of broccoli, you can put it in. We eliminated plastic bags from all the stores in 2005. So you can't get a plastic bag at checkout. You can't get it in the produce department. If you get, a thing of meat, you're going to get it in a compostable bag. And then we invite you to bring your compost back. In that bag is great. In a Tupperware is fine too, however you want to get back to the store. But so in 2005, we did eliminate plastic bags from all stores, really trying to reduce that, and then do the Stop the Stuff. You can bring it back to us.
Amazing. So how many stores do you have?
So right now we have 19 stores.
Wow.
Yep. And the goal is to, just keep growing, because we believe that we're doing the right thing and that we're, good for the planet. So the bigger, the better, really, as long as, we keep our culture together and all that kind of thing, which I think we're doing a really great job of. Right now we're in 4 states and DC.
So what are those states?
It's Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and DC. Yep. And we have about 1,200 employees who, are truly super passionate about all of this. I go to our new hire orientations where we train them on recycling and our different campaigns and our history of banning plastic bags and banning bottled water. And most of the time they say that they came to Moms because of the culture fit, because of the passion, because of our purpose. So that's really inspiring to see, how people find us.
What a wonderful story. And I just want to find out some of the logistics, because you guys are really pioneering a new model.
Yes.
You really, truly are. And with 19 stores, you're collecting recycles materials. What are you doing with those materials? What streams are you?
So we have a number of different partners. So for example, eyeglasses, right? We allow you to come in and recycle eyeglasses and sunglasses and things like that. We partner with Alafia, which is a wellness brand. They make soaps and body care and things like that. So the eyeglasses will go to Togo, Africa, and they'll give free eye exams, and the glasses will go to who needs them. Similar program with our shoes. We'll either recycle the shoes if they cannot be reworn, but if they can, then they'll go to those in need. The corks are upcycled into like yoga blocks or Birkenstocks, which is funny because it's kind of full circle of our customers that drop off the corks and then they have the shoes back. The chip bags, we allow people to bring in chip bags. That's sponsored by TerraCycle. So that's a ship away program. So we ship them to TerraCycle when we have the right poundage. And they bale them in a baler and they shred them down into these little things called nurdles, which are like kind of small plastic pieces, kind of the commodity in the plastic world. And then they reshape them into decking or benches or, flower pots that are plastic or something like that, and just turn them into something else. So some of the programs, they come and collect them from us, like the battery people. Some of the programs we have to ship them. So it's a lot of moving parts to manage that, especially, I commend the stores completely because they have all the customers bringing in the stuff and they have to sort them and all that kind of stuff, but they're doing a great job. And then all of our partners, are great as well to work with.
So do all those recycled materials that you're getting from all the different stores get transported to a central location and then, or are they recycled from each location?
They're recycled from each location.
Oh my heavens.
Yeah. So it's, we don't collect them all at our, like a central location within us, but I know that TerraCycle does. So they'll all get shipped to the TerraCycle website. They'll put all the chip bags together, and deal with it there and, have the next step there. But, we have to get it to them first.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's been a really fun program. Everybody loves it. Customers enjoy it. You get to see the look on their faces when they come in and they see this giant recycling center that's like, 12 feet long. And they're like, what am I looking at? But we train everybody on how to use that recycle center because it's a team effort. We're all in this together and we all have the same environmental purpose. So
I actually, when I was at Mom's, I took some photographs. So those are also going to be on the page when we have our interviews posted.
Yeah. You can also go to the website, to the Recycle Center page, and I'll tell you what organization or nonprofit takes the goods, what happens to them, best practices for when you bring it to us, what's easiest for you, that kind of thing.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. So how long have you been with Mom's?
This month, actually, I've been there for 4 years. Yep.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's been great. It's a great culture fit for me, for sure.
So you keep talking about the culture. Tell us more about that.
It's just a really great learning environment. We have very strong core values. We're very into, just kind of like mindfulness and leadership and growth within the company and, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, but then growing from it. We have a lot of, we have book sessions and I lead a number of field trips around environmentalism. So we visit material recycling facilities and we visit composting sites and we go to solar farms. And I mean, it's just, I don't know of any other job that allows that. A lot of times my friends are like, this is work for you? Like, what are you doing? This is great. But coming from the West Coast to the East Coast, it's a culture shock. It's a very different world out here. So it was really comforting to find your people in a company. And then we have numerous partners. Moms alone donates about $500,000 a year to various nonprofits and environmental advocates and, different groups around our states where we work, and then some national ones. So then you start creating a community and you learn of all these other groups. So that's how I learned of Trash Free Maryland. And then, now I'm working very closely with them, or the Maryland Pesticide Education Network, or, just any number of groups. You just kind of start finding all of the people through this job, which is great, and just kind of connecting the pieces and the people and fighting the good fight, which, has just been, it's very purposeful. And I really like that. We're a very purposeful driven company, so that's my favorite part about the culture for sure.
And you work in the central office?
I do. Our central offices are outside of DC in Rockville. That's where the company was formed and started about 32 years ago. That birthday is also in July. July's a big month.
We're way ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So very cool.
That's amazing. So does the company have plans, you said, of continuing its growth, but growing nationwide?
Definitely up and down the East Coast for sure. That's something that we're really excited about. We get emails constantly from customers that are like, oh, come to this city, or we would love you in Virginia Beach, or we don't have this in Annapolis. So we get all those emails. Scott's email and phone number is on every bag, the reusable bags and the paper bags when you check out. So we get a lot of phone calls and emails from customers that have opinions or want us to do this or, whatever. And so we read all of them and respond to all of them as we can. So that's been very cool. They actually were very excited about Plastic Free July last year. So we made it a bigger event for us this year. Last year, we just did it internally at the office. This year, we're doing it on social media and really trying to push it. But, that was something that, we had learned about, but the customers really wanted to see more of that. So
yeah. Well, let's just talk about Plastic Free July and how to go plastic free, because I'll tell you what,
it's easy.
A challenge. And so it becomes a moral decision, to purchase something or not purchase something. I have a cat. She is very picky and has almost died because she wouldn't eat. So I buy her treats that are in a plastic container, and she just ran out of treats. And I could say, you know what? No treats for you, but it's a moral decision. Am I going to take care of my cat, Or am I going to not buy this plastic container and I don't have another alternative that's a great alternative at the moment? How do we deal with things like that? How do we navigate that?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are really turning to the DIY aspect of it. If I can figure out how this is made, maybe I can make it at home, like the treats, maybe, for example. Maybe you can figure out what's in it. Maybe you can make something that's comparable at your house. And that way you can get the ingredients in a different container or different packaging. There's that. Sometimes if you go to like a cat bakery, or I saw a dog bakery yesterday, something specific to that item, they might have those loose items. Or even, a pet store, I think sometimes has those treats just kind of in a buffet bar. Maybe you can bring in your own container for that. So I think it's just kind of, getting creative, and just thinking outside of the box as to what, can you do? I would, yeah, I guess that would probably be it.
Well, what I've discovered is, first of all, I've been traveling more to find places that I can buy in bulk, and that I can find things that are not plastic. So, and I'm spending a lot more money.
Oh,
I'm spending a lot more money to buy things that are not packaged in plastic at the moment. And there are certain things that I need or want, and I don't have an alternative, or I haven't been able to find it. What I noticed is that to truly go zero waste, or to go plastic free, you first of all need to be willing to give up a lot of the things that you enjoy.
Some of the comforts. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. And then you were talking about the time effort from finding these products and things like that.
And making them. If you're talking about DIY, that you're talking about time. If you want, and I make most of my own meals, but people that are in a hurry, you can't buy frozen food that doesn't have plastic, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be then you get creative. You have a DIY party and you get together and you make all those things on a Sunday with your girlfriends or boyfriends, and you can trade. Maybe you do the cat treats this week and they do the Lunchables or whatever, and you can swap that way, or the deodorants or things like that. But I also think that if it's a shopping experience, it might just be a one-time search. Once you find it, you found it. So if you're looking online, or if you're coming into Mom's, and we have like bulk granola. So if you are a big cereal eater, you can come in and you found it. Now you know where that is. Make a note of it. And now next time, you don't have to do the hunt because you found it that one time. So,
right.
Just kind of keeping your eyes out for where you can find things, because you'll find them in some pretty fun places. We try to offer, as much. We don't have cat treats, I don't believe, in bulk.
Well, so you have to understand, in this case, she doesn't eat just any treats.
Yeah. Okay.
I have gone through so many different foods just to get this cat fed. And, so at that point, it becomes, every time I purchase something or look at whether I'm going to buy this or that, it becomes a moral decision.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's amazing. You said Mom's has bulk shampoo and body care.
It's yep. So we have like detergents and laundry that are
laundry products.
Yep. Yeah. And then you could make your own shampoo from the different things that
I don't need it, but but a lot of people probably do.
Yeah, there's different kinds of oils and things like that, essential oils we have as well, that you could just put together and mix and match. Go online, find a recipe. We have some recipes within our stores for DIY body care essentials and things like that. So really, I guess it's just kind of finding those things from the beginning, and then making note of them, and then carrying on that. I can say that you can definitely make a zero waste meal at Mom's if you were, going for the food route for human consumption within the bulk section and the oil section. And we have vinegars and things like that. We also have bulk spice. You could spices that way. And then, the produce department is pretty, not completely plastic free, just because some items are more sensitive than others and fragile, like cherry tomatoes or black garlic, say. But, the rest of it's pretty loose, and you can bring in your own bag for that. Bring your own container, that kind of thing.
I love that you can bring your own container. Supposedly, Whole Foods had that for a little while.
Yeah, I was very shocked that they didn't allow that. I thought that, I honestly thought that was just why you had a bulk section,
Right.
was so that you could bring in your own container. But I guess not. No,
Do you guys have bulk tahini?
I'm not sure. I don't know about it. I'm sure that we have the ingredients that you could buy to then make tahini, like the seeds
Okay.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you know what else is really cool? We have bulk tofu. So we have like a big
Awesome.
bucket of it, and you can slice the size that you actually want or feel like you'll use, and then you can take it that way.
Wow.
Yeah,
But it brings me back to the days years and years ago. We had a co-op. Everything was bulk.
yeah,
Everything was bulk. Flowers and oils and everything. It was wonderful.
yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. We need to go back to that now, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yep. Maybe I kind of like think like don't expect it to be there. If you want a bag that really lasts forever, bring your own reusable bag or, a container, that kind of thing. Like you're leaving to go shopping for all of the items that you think that you're going to need, and maybe bringing all those, kind of like the mentality of when you go to like a farmer's market or something, you're bringing all the stuff that you're going to need to take home. We need to start shopping that way. Even, if you're going to a clothing store or wherever, it's a bag. It's going to, you don't need all that junk to just recycle or throw away once you get home. So
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Oh, and what I learned actually so far about this plastic-free challenge is it takes planning, and that's really what you're saying too.
Yeah.
You need to find places that you can shop. You need to be able to plan the DIY. You need to be able to really be committed, dedicate time to doing these extra things. And the bottom line is, not only is it going to be plastic free, but the likelihood is it's going to be a lot healthier
Yeah,
too.
healthier. I mean, you're building a community if you do have the thing where your friends and you get together. And I know that it's time consuming and some people are very constrained on time. Um, but it's a fun activity. If you do it with your family members or something, I think that would be a nice way to spend some time. I also have gotten like oddly attached to some of my reusable items, like my metal straw or my coffee cup or, that kind of thing, where like I know where they are. They're my, at all times, and they last so much longer. I can't tell you, if I drink even coffee out of like a cup like this versus my, Yeti or my Clean Canteen or whatever, it's hotter and colder so much longer that it just makes it, it's just more enjoyable for me to have something that is just better quality all around. And I had to buy it one time. I have to keep my eyes on it, but I only had to buy it one time,
Right. And I think you're pointing to something that's really an important factor here, is the gratification of it too. So you have an ongoing experience of no guilt.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing. That's
Yeah.
an amazing thing.
It's great. It's become a conversation piece too. I went like clothing shopping and I had my own bags and I was bagging my own things. And, the young guy behind the counter was like, oh, that's, I've never seen anybody do that at a clothing store, at the grocery store, sure. But, now we're in a different setting. That's really cool. I'm going to start doing that. Or, when you say, oh, I don't need a straw, can I have a glass cup with my drink or whatever? And they're like, well, why? And then they see your straw and they're like, oh, that's really cool. Like, oh, it says your name on it or whatever, that's fun. And then now they have it. Or next time I went to that restaurant, they didn't have straws anymore. And which made sense. They were an oyster house. And so
Wow.
oysters clean the water in the bay. And so they already kind of have an environmental quality and purpose to them. So microplastics and plastics ending up in the bay hurt the oysters. So it just kind of, all makes a lot of sense because it's all connected anyways. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely is. So one thing I do want to ask, because so many products are packaged in plastic and Mom's is a big retail store. How do you guys navigate that? And do you have any kind of initiatives that you're pressing with your suppliers?
So it's hard to go completely zero waste. We do preferentiate, groups that have compostable packaging, or we don't usually allow we don't have any styrofoam packaging in the stores. We do push people to, hey, why don't you switch from plastic egg cartons to the paper egg cartons because they biodegrade faster. and, you don't have to recycle them, whatever. So we do, if we can be involved in the decision making, or if they say, is it this or that, and we are allowed to make the choice, then we definitely do. And then we also do put a lot of our, you'll have preferential treatment if you are doing more environmentally sustainable packaging, that kind of thing. It's something that we're definitely looking into, and there's a ways to go with that. We also really like groups that do stuff around food waste, or they compost their items rather than just throw it all away in the trash or something like that. So it's kind of all of the different things that we look at. Organic, what do you do with the food waste? How is it packaged? That kind of thing.
I was very impressed by the assortment of products you had on your shelf. There were resealable sandwich bags that were paper.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
We have the paper ones. We also have the
compostable.
Yep, those are the compostable ones. But we also have the reusable ones too, which are cool. They have like a little Velcro flap, and you can rinse them out and reuse them. We have the beeswax wrap. That's pretty cool. And I have friends that aren't even environmentalists, and they use it because it saves them so much money, because they don't have to buy saran wrap over and over and over again. They buy the bees wrap, they wash it, they set it out to dry, and then they can make their lasagna or their casserole or whatever. And they started.
Why don't you describe the bees wrap so people understand what it is?
I'll try. So it's like
fabric.
Yeah, basically made from like beeswax. So it's kind of a fabric piece. You can heat up the sides with your fingertips, and it'll seal around your container. And then you just wash it. I think you can use it for over a year, and then it's compostable at the end. So
actually,
win-win.
That's a DIY project. You can find recipes. It's beeswax and some kind of another kind of tree resin and some other things, and you just take organic cotton, ideally, and infuse it with this wax. And then because of the temperature for beeswax to get soft, being close to room temperature, when you touch it and you mold it, it'll hold its shape. It'll respond. It's not like paraffin. So
yeah. I think that together you and I have a DIY weekend already planned.
Yeah.
Between the cat treats and the beeswax.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. For sure. And snacks, so many of these snacks, you've got chips and all kinds of craziness like that. You can do a lot of that in a dehydrator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, pack it to go, and you have that pride that you made it, what's in it. If you have allergens or whatever, you're allergic to something, or it's great. I mean, it's really fun. We're seeing a lot of schools do zero waste lunch challenges.
Wow.
It's really cool if you go into schools. So Moms does a lot of advocacy and environmental outreach. So we will go into schools and talk to kids and students, and, you put all their wrappers and packaging in a big pile after lunch, and it's a mountain, and that's something that's tangible that the kids can see. It's like, that's not going anywhere. If that sits in the landfill, it might be around forever.
Right.
Or even worse, if it's, in some cities, it's an incinerator and you're going to breathe that in later. Right. So, I mean, it's really just kind of all around doing good by by using less and reusing things that you can reuse.
Yep. In fact, what I am doing is I'm saving all the plastic that I've used for the month of July. So I had containers that had plastic, that were made of plastic, that I've used the ingredients for. So I'm collecting all this stuff to be able to look at. Now, I'm not buying that this month, but it's stuff that I had. So, I kind of have to count that. I at least that's how I see it. So even being really, really mindful, we end up collecting plastic.
Yeah.
So tell me how, one of the things I wanted to talk about, some of the other products and the kinds of things that people could be using to reduce their amount of plastic consumption. Obviously, having a water bottle, right? And ideally, we've just become ambassadors for Purity. There's a company called Purity, and they make the best portable water filter around, and we have it's part of a program where if you buy two at wholesale, one gets donated to a kid
Oh, that's cool.
around the world who needs clean water to drink. But you drinking bottled water is really dangerous, like because of the microplastics.
Yeah.
Because the standards for the health of the water really are not upheld.
Yeah.
In that industry, besides the fact that it creates all this plastic waste, right?
Yeah.
But what about things like soft drinks or juices or all these other things that are often packaged in plastic? What kinds of recommendations might you have?
I mean, again, it would be, kind of the DIY route. I grew up in Florida and we had orange trees, and I was really into juicing, like after school. It was just fun to see the thing spin and make your own. So, I mean, there's that route. With soda, or carbonated drinks, there are products like Soda Streams and things like that where you can do it at home and kind of mix the flavor with the, bubbly water, and I mean, so there are other, you're losing maybe one item, but you're getting another option, maybe a better option. And sometimes maybe you might have to part with something. I don't know how to make a Snickers bar at home or peanut M&Ms, but maybe I just switch my candy habit or whatever your thing is. So yeah. And then, I mean, we're talking about reusable items. I like to camp, and so having your own utensils on you,
right.
They make some really fun ones that are, all connected, or they're scooped at the top, or they're, cute or whatever. So there are other opportunities. Yeah.
You guys have a utensil kit, a bamboo utensil kit with a thing that you could actually put on your belt or something, which
great.
is awesome. So you would want a water bottle, maybe a straw, some kind of napkin or cloth, some kind of dish or bowl or container that you can eat out of. What other kinds of things would you want in there? You obviously want to carry some bags.
Yep. Carry some bags. I have some reusable produce bags too that I really like. So I can just kind of put all the mushrooms in that, and that's, been really great.
Tell us about your reusable produce bags.
I mean, that's pretty much it. They're
Are they fabric? Yeah.
Yep. So
okay,
we have fabric one.
So here's my experience is that the produce doesn't stay fresh in those in the fridge. So
yeah, I feel like it's kind of a transport thing. You're transporting it from point A to point B. It might last longer in a plastic bag, but do we really need something that's going to last a little bit longer for a bag that's then going to last forever? Like really the goal is to get the broccoli from mom's to your house, you stick it in the crisper, and you use it within the next couple of days. So maybe it's also augmenting like how much you're buying. You're buying for the next couple of days. There are some cool tricks I saw with greens and celery where you can stick them in a cup of water when they start to look wilty, and they'll perk back up, which is fun because I buy cilantro and that doesn't last forever, but I can stick it in a glass of water and stick it back in my fridge and it perks up, in the next couple of hours. So I think being mindful of how much you're buying, when you're buying it, are you really going to get through this? Just kind of being more, mindful of that. And maybe it's on Sundays and you're doing meal prep and you're chopping things and freezing it away for later in the week, or, you're making something like that. So, but I love the produce bags. It does, my only goal is to get it from point A to point B. I think that's all a produce bag should be used for. And when you get home, the proper care will allow your produce to last optimal, length of time.
I have a confession. I bought, let's see, I think they're called Debbie Meyer's green bags, and they are plastic. However, I have had one of those bags for well over a year. And it keeps the produce fresher.
Oh, that's great.
Than traditional plastic. So what I've done is I bought some of those bags and I take them to the market with me, and I put my produce in it right at the market.
Yeah.
And I can weigh it at the market in that bag or whatever. And then it's ready. I just put it in the fridge when I get home. And, so it is plastic. That's the confession. And it would be awesome if they could make that compostable.
Mm-hmm.
For your bags that are compostable at the market, will that work in residential compost as well, or is it a commercial compost?
It's commercial compost, yeah. But since we allow you to bring back your compost to moms, we can take that back. And a lot of times, if you have a reusable, compostable bag, our bags, they'll swap you out too. They'll say, "Oh, yours is done. Here's the new one," or whatever. I mean, because it's meant to last, but but it is compostable, so you just have to keep that in mind too. But that's been a really cool program, and we've seen some really cool sites. So we work with a composter called Veterans Compost, and they're out of Maryland, and it's a gentleman who came back from being deployed, couldn't find work, was looking around and what can he do to really, get involved environmentally and do the right thing. And he started his own compost company. And a couple of years ago in Maryland, the day he opened his doors, boom, he was the second largest in the state because there were a lot of them, and he was really small. But he's taken our bags, our compostable, reusable bags, and started planting gardens in them, and put it in a big tomato stalk coming out of it. And that's really adorable. So they can be used, and then they'll break down, they can break down in your soil at home. It'll just take longer.
Okay. What other tips? Because you're a zero waste person too.
Yeah. So I tell everybody, and this was life-changing. When I lived in Seattle, we got a lot of fruit flies. So if you were composting, it's just kind of par for the course. You were going to get fruit flies. And then I just discovered, why don't I just stick it in my freezer? And then that was just life-changing because it doesn't smell and I don't get fruit flies because it's in there. And then I'm able to put liquids in there and like soup, leftover soup or whatever that's gone bad, I can stick in and I was using a compostable bag, but now I just have like a little Tupperware with a, snap-on lid, and I put all my compost in there and stick it back in the freezer, and I just bring it to work for me, but you guys would bring it, to the grocery store and dump it out when it's full, and I can rinse it out and clean it and then put it back in my freezer for that. That's great. It keeps my trash doesn't smell. I don't have to take my trash out for weeks at a time. I live in the city, so we have animals that might live out in the alleyways and things like that. So it really just kind of negates all that, and that's been great. And I love composting. And I mean, before you do that, you can use all that stuff usually as stock if you want to make vegetable broth or bone stock or whatever. And then the last bit of it can go to your compost bin.
Do you allow meat products and bones and things in your compost?
We do, yep. So because it goes to a commercial facility, they take all of that.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So they'll even take like the fish scales and some of the things that you don't necessarily want to put in your yard because of critters, but you can take them into moms. And yep. And then we've really helped a lot of organizations who wanted to get started composting. We've helped some juice bars because they have a lot of like juice drink bars. They have a lot of compostable waste after they've juiced all the fruits. So we've helped them get started. And then if there's a big event that's in our area, like there's a big oyster festival, we'll help them get things kind of going so that they can do compost, and we connect them with veterans, and sometimes we'll sponsor it, that kind of thing, so they can do those sorts of things. If it's like an environmental event, that kind of thing. So that's been really great. Yeah, I mean, and one of the big things I think with going zero waste and starting composting is the educational experience between the customer and the staff, or learning what goes where and why it goes there and that kind of thing. I think if you have that conversation with the customer, then they typically will understand, because there's so many confusing things about recycling and composting. I'll get emails a lot where somebody says, "Oh, there's the number 4 on my whatever item. Can I recycle this in commingled?" And that number 4 doesn't tell you whether or not it's recyclable. It tells you what kind of plastic it was made out of.
Oh, interesting.
Not how you recycle it. So it has the recycling symbol, but that's just very confusing, So it tells you what chemicals made that material, not if you can recycle it. So there's a lot of like wish cycling going on where people will stick that item.
A lot of wish cycling going on.
It's like 25% of everything that goes in the recycling bin actually isn't recyclable.
Well, because we're really not educated about it.
Well, but I also think it's on the manufacturers because they're confusing you, and then they keep coming out with thinner and thinner plastics or different kinds of plastics or plastic that's mixed with silicone, and they keep coming out with all these weird new types and styles of plastics that nobody knows what to do with, and they don't really care. They didn't, they created it so that they could, get a cut on how much plastic's going out there, and say it's Coke bottles and you use thinner plastic, you're going to save more money in materials, but they don't care what happens once you use it and where it goes. And I think that's going to be a big thing that they're going to have to look at, because you start mixing all these materials together and it has nowhere to go. You either need to send it back to the person who made it and created it, because the materials recycling facilities can't keep up with all these.
I think that's actually kind of genius, to take all these bottles or whatever that people have been using and send them back to the companies that produced them.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. That's a great initiative, I think.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I mean, that's kind of what, the TerraCycle chip brigade that we have at Mom's does. It's a Hain Celestial is a chip brand. And they allow our customers to bring in empty chip bags. We collect them and then we ship them back to TerraCycle, who then charges Hain Celestial to recycle them. So Hain Celestial or like Cliff Energy Bar, Tom's of Maine does like a toothbrush, tooth care, take back program. So there are a lot of companies that are doing that. There's not enough companies that are doing that, but they do exist. So it is a model.
But the problem there is, and that is awesome. It is awesome. Let's give them credit for taking it back. But the thing is, stop using the materials that are destructive materials.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a baby step, but then say you don't ever use these, I think that Tom Celestial actually has switched to a lot of compostable product packaging. And I think they have even compostable toothbrushes now.
Good.
Which is very cool.
Yes.
But sometimes it is for freshness, because if a farmer just grew this thing and you ship it all across the world or whatever, you want it to last once it gets there,
But it's possible to be making compostable materials that accomplish the same objective. And I know that it's possible.
It's difficult and it can be very expensive. It is possible.
And I believe
that.
Well, I believe that solutions for so much of this already exists. Mm-hmm. And actually that was something that was quite educational for me in my experience going to Mom's. So I went to Mom's and I started looking on the shelves and I discovered there were paper plates that were made from sugarcane, mm-hmm. which was really, really cool. Do we need to use paper plates? Probably not.
No, yeah.
But the thing that wasn't so cool is they were wrapped in plastic. But hey, it's a start. At least it's not tree materials. And maybe we need to move away from the I need disposable plates type mm-hmm. mentality to begin with. But here's an alternative. It was pretty cool.
It's a lot. You have to kind of sometimes get on the ground and really help those companies get up and running. Like Kickstarter, we have a lot of things where they're creating new materials and they need help and funding, just getting that going.
That's a great point.
And then, really.
And Indiegogo also. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen the lolly straw, which is like a lollipop edible straw thing. I mean, you could just use no straw or paper, whatever, but that's very cool. And then just really supporting the groups that are already doing the right thing, that are using compostable packaging, because if you start putting your money towards buying their products, other people will fall in line because of consumer demand. And maybe now they're going to switch from plastic packaging, like if it's like a grab and go to go food or something like that, where you just want to eat it really quick because it's your lunch break, support the one that has compostable packaging over the one who has plastic packaging. These are things
or bring your own packages. If they'll let you, and they don't always let you. That's
I was thinking more of the, like, you're grabbing a drink and you're grabbing some food and then you're going to leave and go eat it, wherever. Yeah. So, really just putting your money towards things that mean something. And even if you can only do it once a month or, once a whatever, it's still, I think, very impactful because, little steps, and we're all in this together, and it's a problem that, we all kind of have to solve together. So,
and honestly, I think awareness is one of the biggest influencers in changing behavior. Because frankly, before even thinking about this plastic challenge, I thought I was being really conscientious. And now when I was looking at being completely plastic free, it was like, oh my heavens, I found all these areas where I can make change.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's pretty fun to take challenges like this, or to challenge yourself. I've tried to do like a weekend trip, plastic free or reusable, reusable items only. And it is, I mean, it's almost impossible, but it does really bring it to the forefront of your mind. You are now thinking about that. And then when you get done with the challenge, hopefully you're still thinking about that, because really Plastic Free July is great. It's small. It's a catalyst to get thinking about plastic free all the time, or at least reusable items first. If they have to be plastic, can you use them hundreds of times? That's cool too.
Let me ask you, do you know of a saran wrap type product that is compostable?
I would say that bees wrap.
Okay, well, no, I'm saying it, for instance, even in Mom's, you guys had cut cheese and it's all wrapped in saran wrap. I went to Whole Foods. I could find very, very few things to purchase that weren't in plastic.
It's difficult because if it's compostable, it's going to degrade pretty quickly.
Yeah, but how long does cheese have to be wrapped in plastic?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, deli cheese. You know what I mean?
You remember you were saying that you wanted the produce to last a long time once it goes to the fridge, for a few days at least.
You're right.
Kind of that kind of thing. I know that we have a bake shop, and the guy, our head baker there, his name is Michael. He started using shower caps to seal the tops of things, because he can wash them and reuse them. And, instead of, I think they were saran wrapping things. And so now they have this thing that has, little, rubber on the outside. So it's reusable, and it's genius. So it's just kind of like, again, thinking outside the box. What else can I do? How can I reuse this item?
I have these wonderful silicone lids, all different sizes, and I can stretch them to go over the top of a bowl. And it stays solid there. It keeps it fresh. It's awesome.
Yeah. They make cool ones for fruit now too, avocados and onions and limes, like these little tiny, I don't know, reusable wrap things. So that's very cool. So, the opportunity and the items are, they're coming around. I feel like we're at a little tilt. We're at a little shifting point. So it's growing pains. Maybe people are starting to catch on. Plastic Free July is starting to happen. We're starting to ban bags and bottled water and styrofoam and other things that are really degrading the environment. And then we're making this switch. So I kind of feel like we're on like the middle of a teeter-totter, and like we're going to go up at some point. Yeah.
I love what you guys are doing. You serve as such a wonderful model for other organizations, for Whole Foods, if you're listening, for Trader Joe's, if you're listening, this is what we need to do to make our planet livable. It's really a critical and important piece. And I, for one, want to invite anybody and everybody who's listening, whether you're seeing this in July of 2019 or some other time, take the Plastic Free Challenge and at least track your plastic use. And collect it, like just to see what you do in a month. And I'll bet anything that as you become more aware, you're going to modify your choices.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
So let me ask you, do you have any suggestions for resources that people might enjoy? A favorite book or other kinds of resources besides Story of Stuff and the Mom's website? We'll have links.
Yep. Story of Stuff's amazing. That's something that we show to every new hire and every manager and everybody, all the way up. I've seen so many of them. They're just amazing. I think Addicted to Plastic, it was a DVD. I'm sure you can buy it a different way now, but that was something that was very influential to our owner and to the leadership team. Addicted to Plastic kind of follows the plastic water bottle and what's going on there. There's lots of videos about that kind of stuff on YouTube. You just really just Google it. There's a book that I really love called Garbage Land that follows kind of just the whole history of garbage and why it started, why they started collecting it in New York and what their reasoning was before it and the politics behind it. And, so I think that's a really cool book, Garbage Land. It follows this woman follows her waste from, start to finish. And that's a really cool one too. So there's so many books out there that are good. And, even just little snippets, TED Talks, things like that are relatively short, but really kind of inspire, thought and change. And yeah.
So what's your vision?
Oh, geez. My vision for, I just, I would really like to see people start being more mindful about the waste that they're bringing into their lives. It's one of my favorite topics is materials management and why people use certain things and not certain, other things, and trying to incite change. So, it's little baby steps. If you can get, one person to change one thing, I feel like it'll snowball eventually. I think that a lot of times, you change someone's everyday behavior, and then maybe that changed their mindset later, like bringing your own bag. At first there was, 5 cent if you didn't bring your own bag. And now I bet if you asked a 10-year-old child, they wouldn't even know that the 5 cent thing existed. They would just know, oh, you bring your own bags because you bring your own bags. Like that's all they've seen. So I think it would just be to continue to go down that route, and just be mindful of what you're using, the resources that you're using, because, we're all in this together. There's all of us here. We all live on the planet. We all want to continue. I want to go swimming in the Chesapeake Bay and the tributaries. I want to continue to eat, certain wild, fish, aquatic species, and I don't want to worry about microplastics. So, I guess that's my vision. I don't know. Hopeful. It's very optimistic. I feel like we can solve this problem. I feel like we need to just to continue to do the right thing and just take, a catalog of what we're doing every day.
I agree with you. I think being aware is the first step to making the change.
Yeah.
And I think we also have to be somewhat forgiving to ourselves too, because we can't do it all at once, all by ourselves either.
Yeah.
And it does take planning, and it does take learning, and it is, like you said, baby steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you yet?
Let's see. I don't know. So, I guess one plug would be that, we did ban plastic bags in 2005, which I think is really cool. And now it's 2019 and you're hearing of companies that are making the commitment by 2020 or 2025 that they're going to do it, and you're like, well, cool. That's like the party, So I think being aware of those kinds of, little greenwashing things. There's a lot of things that I'll see that I'm like, well, that's kind of greenwashing. That's not real. And just pushing people. I always ask why. If somebody says, we can't do it like that, you're like, well, why not? Well, why,
Yeah.
why then? Why that? And you can just kind of keep pushing it. And usually they get to a point where they're like, well, I guess I just have to be a little bit more creative about that. And now I can, figure out how to do something or, whatever. So.
Yeah. So it's kind of like embracing the challenge as a game almost. Is like,
yeah,
how can I figure this out? How can I do this? And if we all take on the responsibility for coming up with those solutions individually, then collectively it's going to make a profound difference.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Allie, thank you so much for being with us today. We really, really appreciate you, and we appreciate what Moms is doing, and thank you for leading the charge, really.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Very cool. So, well, that's it for today. I want to say thank you to our producer, Scott Billy, and thank you to all of you that are listening. You're the ones that are making the change. And I'm your host, Mira Rubin. Until next time, live your best life, love the world around you, and together we can save the world.
Thank you for listening to Sustainability Now, solutions to shape a world that works. Visit sustainabilitynow.global for resources related to today's program. And be sure to subscribe, share, and follow us on social media.